Hi, everybody. It's Monday, May 16th, 2011. Thanks for stopping by. I have a few, I guess, somewhat unrelated topics to talk about today. First of all, I'd like to mention the fact that I guess it was yesterday, maybe it was Saturday, I can't remember now, but I was listening to NPR, and on NPR they were reporting about how the IDF was killing Palestinian demonstrators, shooting them dead at the border. And they reported it in a very, neutral, almost cheerful fashion, as if they were talking about the weather. Today, the IDF is shooting several Palestinian demonstrators. Now, the weather. You know, and they went on, okay, first they just cheerfully announced that these people were being shot, dead. About 14 at that point, I believe, had been killed. And then they went on to give the official Israeli interpretation of it, that these people were dangerous and that they were causing trouble and they had to be shot because they were attacking them, right? And then they described them as a stone-throwing crowd. Okay, so, you know, let's just get beyond the fact that you're talking about people throwing stones being shot. Okay, that's clearly uncalled for. If someone's throwing stones at you, what do? You duck. You know, you get out of the way. But, you know, would you shoot them? Would you shoot somebody because they were throwing rocks? I mean, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Not in the real world. But when you hear it on the radio and they're talking about Palestinians, of course it makes sense. Just shoot those guys. It doesn't matter. You know, they die every day. It's just the weather. You know, it's like reporting on sports. Today, the IDF killed 50 Palestinians. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You report it like you're reporting that there was an outbreak of swine flu. You know, well, actually, I think you would report the outbreak of swine flu with a little bit more gravity. That would be something serious. You don't want to make light of swine flu, but making light of Palestinians with rocks being shot in the head, well, that's perfect. That's what you should do, right? It just made me think, you know, what if we were listening to the radio on September 11th and we heard that same report? We heard, today, Osama bin Laden killed 3,000 Americans. Bin Laden says that the Americans had it coming. They were evil. And then they went on to describe us as a bomb-throwing nation. The bomb-throwing nation clearly had it coming. Or maybe they could call us the evil, or no, let's see, the violent crowd. The violent crowd was killed today by Osama bin Laden. According to bin Laden, they had it coming. Now, the weather. What if you heard that on your radio? What would you think? I have to tell you that that's what it sounded like to me. That's what it sounded like. You know, I'm not equating the two things, of course, but, you know, there's a certain respect for human life that seems to be missing with us, especially when it comes to the Middle East, Arabs, Muslims. We just don't seem to care a whole lot. And that brings me to my second point. You know, bin Laden was shot recently, we all know. And we all know that bin Laden was a bad guy. He was violent, he killed people, you know. I don't know if there was a whole lot of evidence to connect him to 9/11, but, you know, probably he was involved. I don't know of any evidence. Now, I know he was involved in other attacks. I know he was planning attacks. So he obviously was a violent-minded person. So, you know, I'm not trying to say that bin Laden should have been allowed to get away with what he did. But it seems to me like the proper response would have been to put bin Laden on trial, not to just go out and assassinate him. And maybe the reason why they did that was because they didn't think they could put him on trial. Maybe they thought, maybe they didn't have enough evidence against him. But that doesn't matter. If you don't have the evidence, you can't convict somebody of a crime. So, I really agree with bin Laden's son. Bin Laden's son said that he condemned bin Laden and Obama because both of them were violent men. He condemned what bin Laden did because he was violent, and he also condemned the people who killed him because it's the exact same thing. It's violence. So I agree with that, and it's okay to be glad or to be relieved that Obama is no longer, trying to kill people. But I think that the way that people have reacted in this country has been rather shameful, and that they have been gleeful about this killing. They've been celebrating it and whooping it up and really just gloating and bragging about, how great we are because we killed bin Laden. And that's just a glorification of violence. It's a celebration of a cycle of violence that is continued with this killing that, also includes 9/11. 9/11 was a cycle. It was part of this cycle. The killing of bin Laden is part of the cycle. And guess what? We, for the most part, are guilty of starting the cycle. We are the ones that have been subjugating and destroying the Middle East for 100 years now. And we've subjugated and destroyed Central America and, many other parts of the world. And after 9/11, we've committed much, much greater atrocities than what bin Laden did. We used bin Laden's violence as an excuse to invade two countries and kill hundreds of thousands of people. And for us now to say, yay, it's over, we got what we wanted, good for us. I mean, it just seems beyond appalling because we're ignoring the fact that we have become worse than bin Laden in some ways. And certainly the destruction that we have wreaked is far greater than what he could have ever done. So, should people in other countries come and kill us? So should Iraq or Afghanistan send their special forces to kill Obama or Bush or both? Clinton, maybe? Rumsfeld? Should they kill all of them and then gloat about it on television and wave their flags and talk about how great they are because they killed criminals that just happened to be American? It's the same sort of concept, exact same sort of situation. And I don't think we would be looking at those people too favorably if they did that. We'd think, oh my God, what a bunch of savages. I'm glad I don't live over there. I wonder if that's what they're thinking about us right now. My God, what a bunch of savages. I'm glad I'm not over there. They'd kill me for looking at them wrong, right? And I guess the last thing I want to mention today is Christopher Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens, they mentioned the other day, I don't know what brought this on, but they happened to mention that in 2007, he wrote a column talking about how women are not funny. Now, that is just a ridiculous and moronic statement, that women are not funny. It's a ridiculous generalization that you could immediately disprove anytime you want. Just watch a movie or watch television or talk to a woman, and you can immediately see how ridiculously moronic that statement is. But he tried to say that women really aren't funny at all, as a rule. And why is that? And I wasn't really surprised because Christopher Hitchens, and respect for the dead and all that. I'm not glad that he died of cancer and all that. That was terrible. I feel bad for that. But on the other hand, it kind of shows you what his mentality is, doesn't it? It kind of shows you how he generalizes about people. He generalized about Muslims, Arabs. He generalizes about women. Thanks for watching.